Okay, let's actually think about what we have here. So we know that the train is traveling from a starting point toward final point that is the terminus. So we can call the starting point S, and the terminus we can call it T, like terminal point. We know that our train is traveling at a speed of 30 miles per hour. But we also know that at the same time we have our pigeon that is going into the direction of our train, and when it meets the train it turns around and it goes back to the terminus. Then it does the same thing, starting from the terminus, and it goes to the train. This until the train reaches the terminus. So we want to calculate how much time does the train takes to reach the terminus. So we know that the distance is equals to the speed times the time. One side note is that when we talk about speed, we talk about a linear quantity that only has the magnitude. When we talk about the velocity, we talk about a vectorial quantity that has also a direction. For example, 40 miles per hour east. We have a direction, or south, or west, or north. This is a direction, and this is a vector. So when we use this formula for the velocity, we have to think about the displacement. When we use this formula for the speed, we have to think about the distance. So the first thing that we want to do is to rearrange this equation to find the time it takes the train to actually arrive at the terminus. So the train travels, so we have to divide by the velocity, So we can see that the time is equals to the distance divided by the speed. So distance is actually 120 miles. The speed is 30 miles per 1 hour. Every hour the trains travels 30 miles. So we can see that the unit miles cancel, and we were left with 4 hours. So the train takes 4 hours to arrive to the terminus. At this point, we can do the same thing for the pigeon. We know that the pigeon has to travel. Let's see how long does the pigeon takes to travel the same distance as our train. So we know that the total distance the train travels is 120 miles, and the pigeon in this case goes at a speed of 30 miles each hour. So we can see that our pigeon time is equals to 3 hours. This means that our pigeon takes 3 hours to travel a distance that our train takes 4 hours. So 4 minus 3 equals 1 hour. So our pigeon has left 1 hour to actually travel. So we can use the proportion that the pigeon takes, the pigeon travels 40 miles each hour. So we can see that our pigeon takes 3 hours to travel 120 miles. So if we sum 40 miles to the 120 miles, we will get that 160 divided by 40 is equals to 4 hours. So we can see that our pigeon travels 160 miles in total. So our final solution is letter E in this case. So I will do this way. Is letter E. Number 12. Mr. and Mrs. Massa's rectangular lawn measures 10 meters by 6 meters. They pay Giovanni to cut the grass and trim the edges. Giovanni charged a fixed rate per square meter of grass to be cut and another fixed rate per meter of edge to be trimmed. For Mr. and Mrs. Lona's lawn, this resulted in a charge of $12 to cut the grass and $8 to trim the edges. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Costa next door want Giovanni to do the same for them. Their lawn is also rectangular and measures 15 meters by 9 meters. If he charges them at the same rate as the Massas, how much Giovanni charged Mr. and Mrs. Costa in total for cutting their grass and trim their edges? Okay, so if we think about what cutting the grass means, it means that Giovanni has to cut an area, a square area of 10 meters by 6 meters. So meter times meters, it equals to square meter, and 10 times 6 is equals to 60. So we can see that Giovanni has to cut 10 meters by 6 meters of grass. It has to cut 60 meters. But it has also to trim the edges. The edges means that we have to calculate. So if this is the rectangular lawn, okay, we have to sum 6 plus 6 and 10 plus 10. So this is equals to 20 and this is equals to 12. So 20 plus 12 is equals to 32 meters in this case, because it's plus meters plus meters. In the other case, we will have to calculate each square meter, and 1 square meter is 1 times 1. So if we do the same thing for 6 times 10, we will have the total area of this rectangular lawn. At this point, we have how many meters Giovanni has to trim and how many square meters Giovanni has to cut. So we can take the cost for everything, for the total amount. So what we have to do now is to take the total area Giovanni has to cut, that in this case is 60 meters, and divide it by the price Giovanni charge to cut 60 square meters. So Giovanni, in order to cut 60 square meters, charged $12. So we can divide 60 by 12 and we will get 5 meters square for $1. This means that for $1 Giovanni cut 5 square meters. Okay, and this is for the area. Let's go and calculate how much it takes to trim the edges. So in this case we have to divide 32 meters by $8 in this case, so $8, and we will get 4 meters per dollar. So each dollar Giovanni charge has a result of 4 meters of grass that were trimmed. So we can call this the trim cost and this the cut cost. So the lawn has an area, so area of the lawn is equals to 15 meters by 9. 15 times 9. Okay, so this is equals to 10 times 9, which is equals to 19, plus 5 times 9. So this is equals to 90 plus 45, which is equals to 125 square meters. And then we can calculate our perimeter, which, like we said, is 15 plus 15, so 2 times 15, plus 9 plus 9, so 2 times 9. This is equals to 30 plus 18. So this is equals to 48 meters. So we have our conversion factor right here. So we can divide 135 square meters by 5 meters each dollar. So we will get, if we take 5 and we multiply by 10, we get 50. If we do the same thing, so we add another 50, we will get 100. Plus 25, which is 5, so we have 20, we have 25, we will get to 125, and plus 10, so plus 2 times is equals to 27. So our final result, our final price for the cut of the grass is $27. And right now we have to calculate the perimeter cost, so the trim cost. The trim, total trim is 48 meters, and this will have to divide by 4 meters per dollar. So what we get here is that 4 times 10 is equals to 40, plus 2 is equals to 12. So another $12, because this gives us another $12. So this is equals to $12. So for the final price, we will have to sum $27 plus $12, which will be equal to $39. So our final answer is letter E.